Good morning to all our listeners today, and welcome to another edition of Health Vibes, where we at Jolly's Pharmacy bring you the health topics that you're most interested in, and of course, a little bit of vibes with all of that too. I know that we're halfway the week, and so we're starting off this week with Health Vibes. And I know that all of us tuning in might have had quite a restful or possibly the opposite holiday. And so, for all of us listening, whether it may be from home, from work, hopefully we're really productive today. I'm hoping the general population can manage to task this morning. I'd like to say morning to you, to all our listeners. You can join us in on the live as well online. Feel free to come on and to have a look at what's happening in store today. And of course, we have some interesting tips and tricks for you this morning. And we're going to focus on a few items that I think that most persons may be delightful to hear or to know. So as we know, we just came through the carnival season. It has winded down. We are now entering the Lenten season for some persons. And so the season was really busy with quite some festivities for those of us who had the chance to go out. We had a lot of events. We had quite a full road yesterday with a lot of diasporans, foreigners coming in to celebrate with us with these carnival festivities. So I know that a lot of persons may be feeling the effects this morning, whether it be the fatigue, the aching feet. You're starting to feel, really and truly, when you're going on the road, it's a lot of exercise. And so you're starting to feel those muscles kind of getting a little bit sore in there. But I'm hoping that the season was good for you all. And today, I really want us to go down into some tips and tricks for dealing with the post season or post festive season issues. So whether it may be to deal with some cold and flu tips, whether it may be to deal with some pain or your usual maintenance medications. I know that sometimes when we get busy with the season, we forget a lot. So tune in. We'll be giving you some important, pertinent information, and we'll come back to you after the break.
Bringing vibes to health with Health Vibes. Health Vibes. Each and every Wednesday from 10 to 11:30 a.m. with your hosts, Trudy Kristen and co-host pharmacist Jacinta Fagan and Leona Jeremiah. Education, information, and a bit of humor. And not forgetting lots of vibes. Jolly's Pharmacy is bringing health and vibes together with Health Vibes. So be sure to tune in each and every Wednesday on Q95 from 10 to 11:30 a.m. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
Introducing Jolly's Pharmacy, brand new website, www.jollies.gm. Insta, your time to jump the line. Shop now at jollies.gm and have your items delivered in the comfort of your office. No more standing in line. No need to use your lunch hour to shop. Hassle-free shopping, safe and secure. Jollies.gm features rush delivery, 1 hour. In-store pickup, regular delivery, 5 p.m. Cut-off time, 4 p.m. It's your time to jump the line. www.jollies.gm. Jollies Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
Oh, and if they say convenience can make a big difference, then you can trust me. I know just where you should be. That is JP Mega. The one-stop shopping, nigga. You could be shopping and having fun. If you're not happy, feel so sharp. It's to everyone. What a happy place. Oh, JP Mega. The one-stop shopping, nigga. You could be shopping and having fun. It's to everyone. What a happy place. Oh, what a happy place. But just fix them off any item and you automatically qualify for discounts. Check us out at the Mega Store in Concordia where there's lots of parking from Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. JP Mega, the best family shopping experience.
We got this morning feeling risky. I had the patience to call it sick, but I end up in Jolly's pharmacy. Red and out in the street, and it's fixed up my immune system. Me feeling fit and strong now. I'm ready to work and pick on any mission. If you see me again, Jolly's pharmacy is number one. Jolly's forget. We cater for everyone. Jolly's forget. Boost up the immune system. Jolly's forget. Yo, Dominic is the boy father box. Whenever I'm in town and I'm feeling down, I head to Jolly's Pharmacy. They boost me up real quick. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
Would you be missing the party this weekend because of that?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. And I shouldn't say welcome to Health Vibes. Leona has already welcome to Health Vibes, but I'm finally in studio. And I'd just like to say good morning to our listeners and good morning to you, Leona.
Good morning to you, Trudy. And it's a good morning so far.
It's been a hectic morning so far.
Indeed.
I felt that it was Ash Wednesday, so it should be fairly quiet in the city, but I was very wrong. And of course, there's a cruise ship in port as well as there's some traffic diversion in the city. So the traffic is crazy right now in Roseau. So anybody trying to traverse the city of Roseau, you are in for a long set of delays and waits. And I also noticed quite a bit of the visitors still are here. Of course,
Right.
maybe today might be the day that they're going back, but I noticed quite a lot of visitors, quite a few visitors walking through the streets, maybe trying to get their last minute stuff before they return home. So, of course, good morning to you if you are one of our regular listeners to Health Vibes. Good morning to you if you're one of the people who are logging on, tuning in for the first time. You may be on island for Carnival and you happen to be hearing this program. Good morning to you. We hope that you stick around and that you come back in the weeks to come for Health Vibes. We always promise a program with a little vibes along with our health education and health information. Leona, I know today's show, and you've already announced it, is giving our listeners all the tips for using the pharmacy, particularly post Carnival, where there may be many issues that people may feel they need to come to the pharmacy for a solution to. And I just know, based on the congestion in Roseau, that Jolly's Pharmacy must be congested as well this morning.
Indeed. So, pre-holiday, post-holiday congestion is definitely a thing at Jolly's Pharmacy, and post-carnival specifically, we have a lot of different issues that pop up from reveling and so on. So, at this point, you do get a lot of customers coming in, whether it be return customers for their usual stuff, but you get a lot of walk-ins for acute situations as well.
Yeah, I can just imagine. So, of course, in the city on King George V Street, Jolly's Pharmacy, their Great George Street, I can tell that those two branches must be packed this morning just based on, how many people are moving around this morning. And Leon, as you said, after the season, I guess the pharmacy will continue to see increased visits. So we want to help you through that. We want to help you kind of navigate your Jolly's Pharmacy visits that you may need to make post-Carnival season. And even for people who did not participate in Carnival, and I know there are quite a number of those, some of the issues that arise for the Carnival season might still end up impacting you.
Indeed.
So you
Definitely
might,
that.
Yeah, so you might never have gone to any Carnival event, but you get the post-Carnival flu or the Carnival flu.
Yes, I'm not sure what the name is as yet.
No.
But there's always one, there's usually one, and I mean with the influx of persons in each other's space and the
Yes.
influx of persons itself, there's definitely going to be some sort of flu. And whether or not you were in the streets, we're all mingling with each other. We're back to the workplace. You're dealing with your coworkers. Your children are going to school, especially the kids. So long as there are kids in your house, you're at risk. And
Uh-huh.
so definitely you can start to prepare for that
Yes.
in prevention mode.
Yes.
And if you've already been caught, we have stuff for that as well.
All right. So before the carnival season, we did advise you to, boost up your immunity, get some of those immune boosting things that you could purchase at the pharmacy, your vitamin C, your Haliborage multivitamins we spoke about, boost up your immune system. Of course, rest. Don't overdo it on the alcohol. We gave all that advice. But what if you are still coming down with some sort of respiratory illness? You feel the congested nasal passages, you feel your throat is starting to tickle, and possibly you are sneezing, coughing, you know you decide you want to head in to the pharmacy to get a remedy. So, Leon, I want to know. So, we're starting off right now with what is there in pharmacy, or if you've experienced some of those symptoms that I mentioned, what's your best route of redress at the pharmacy? You start to feel fluish, or I'm coming down with something after the kind of season.
Well, after the carnival season, that's coming down with something. It might start like a tickle. It might start like fatigue. It might, most times, if you've gotten all the way to bodily pain, you're already feeling multiple symptoms, right? But sometimes you start to feel what we call off. And you notice maybe you're feeling a little slower, you're struggling more to get up, maybe you didn't go anywhere, but you're feeling tired. You're starting to feel like you're clearing your throat, a little tickle in the throat, a little sniffle, something like that. Definitely jump on that train, on that bus, on your feet, and get to the pharmacy. So initially, before you're getting any full-blown symptoms, and that's one of the things I like to tell customers, what we treat or what we try to treat is symptoms first. So for instance, persons might just come in and you buy a multi-symptom when really and truly the only thing that's affecting you might just be some bodily ache, right? And I know that you want to buy something with everything in there just in case you get everything, but it's better that we give you the ingredients or the items that are going to treat what you have as opposed to everything else that you don't have. So it's giving you the most that we can give you to treat what you have without giving you excess, right? So when you come into the pharmacy, and we'll probably talk a little bit about the prevention side, but when you come into the pharmacy right now at any of our locations, you should be able to get what we called in 2019, 2020, the COVID care pack. And that COVID care pack can still go for the normal flu. And what's in there is different minerals or vitamins that will help to boost up your immune system to better be able to deal with any viruses like the flu that come along. And so the items that are in there, you get some vitamin C, and we all know vitamin C in terms of that antioxidant nature that it has to help to fight or help your immune system to fight against those foreign bacteria. You get zinc in there as well, which is another pretty potent antioxidant. You get some vitamin D, and the last show, well, before we spoke about the importance of vitamin D and the sunlight that you get, which helps your body to function. A lot of different bodily functions depend on vitamin D, including your mood. So sometimes, when you have the flu, you may feel low, you may feel de-energized. The vitamin D can help to combat that feeling as well. So you get vitamin D in there. You also get in there some B complex. And the B vitamins are known for energy. And so they help to boost your energy levels. And a lot of times, regardless of if you have the flu, post carnival, post hectic season, you may be suffering with a little fatigue. You may be feeling a little low. I know productivity might struggle today. And so the B complex in there is beneficial towards that front, right? So you can come in and you get these items. You just ask for a COVID care pack. If you're not sure what items you should get, or you don't want to pick up, multiple bottles, you just want some items because you get about a few a day or 10 days or so worth in some of the items. So you come into the pharmacy and you ask for a COVID care pack, and that will help your immune system to be able to deal with what is to come.
Okay, so Leona, the COVID care pack you're saying has vitamin C, vitamin D, and B complex,
Vitamin C, vitamin D, B complex, zinc.
zinc as well. Okay, so those are the four in the COVID care pack. What's the price?
It's $30 for the pack. But you're getting multiple dosings of all of these items within it. So instead of going and buying a bottle of each, or you're not
Right.
sure what to get, and you have to maybe $10 of this, $10 of that, it's perfectly portioned there for you. So it's $30 for a pack, and you can get it at any of our branches.
That's very good. So, I mean, and I know people would have been maybe familiar with it during the high season of COVID-19, but maybe we're not aware that it's still available at the pharmacy. So, for our listeners, good information there at Jolly's Pharmacy. You can still pick up a COVID care pack, and it will help with, your immune system for any possible respiratory illness that you might be coming down with. And as Leona said, you get your vitamin C, your vitamin D, your B, and your zinc. So I think that's a pretty good $50.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good deal. So if you want to boost up yourself, that's the thing for you.
Indeed.
But Leona, okay, so what if that is maybe you feel a little off, as you mentioned. What if you're down flat? You're down flat. I mean, you maybe were partying, or you maybe started to get something even before Carnival Monday and Tuesday. And by the end of those 2 days, right now, today, Ash Wednesday, you are coughing, like I say, like a pirate. You are, you have a headache. You are completely down with a respiratory ailment. What about these people?
Okay, so for these persons, and most times your first trip is to the pharmacy, so it's not that you have anything prescribed as yet. For these persons, we'll take a trip down to the OTC aisle mostly, right? And at that point, we can probably pinpoint something that's going to help with your symptoms. So dependent on what you're feeling, we'll give you a cough and cold medication that can work for you. Now, I advise when you come into the pharmacy, you can pick up something yourself, sure, but if you're not sure, you speak to either the attendants, you ask to speak to the pharmacist or the pharmacy technicians who are capable of assisting you in that regard. So when we're talking about, we'll probably break down the symptoms and let you know the different things that we have that you can use for those different conditions. So if it is that you're coming down with a cough, right? And we have different types of coughs. So we have persons who have dry coughs. That's when it's pretty tickly in the throat. You're coughing a lot. There's nothing coming up your chest. It isn't making any deep bounding sounds. You don't have any mucus bringing up. It's just this irritating, persistent, dry cough, right? And most times when you come to the pharmacy, you'll see medications have on there either DM, you will see EX, and I mean, you might not know what this means, but the cough syrups are made in such a way that some ingredients work better for expelling mucus from the lungs, from the respiratory system, and that would be an expectorant. So you might see EX on there. Or there are some items that are better for keeping down the cough. Now, what it is you don't want to pick up something that will keep you from coughing and you have mucus in your lungs, because in that case, you might just be reducing the one action that lets that mucus out of the lungs and keeps you from getting a worse infection like a
Right.
pneumonia, right? So that's why it's so important to know the differences. So of course, we have some of our flagship brands. If you come through, you can get the Tussodril in the cough expectorant form. You can get it in a multi-symptom. You can get it in something to reduce the coughing. So that's the Tussodril DM. And of course, for persons who have conditions, that's another thing that we have to ask about when we're recommending these items, because some of these cough syrups often either have an alcohol base, and that can affect your blood pressure. And some of them, a lot of them have sugar in there. So if you are diabetic, that's something that we have to take into consideration as well. So,
Right.
the liquids, especially, you'll notice that there are sugar free ones. And so these are the items that we would focus on for somebody who has diabetes. So all of these things come into consideration. Now, a lot of times when we get the flu, we might not really have one symptom. Most times we don't. So, you might have a cough, you might be bringing up mucus, and then we can deal with that with ease. And you might also have what a lot of people have been suffering with since the year started is congestion. And that could be, allergy related and all of that. And of course, it comes along most times with the flu. And so you might notice that you're getting this pressure around your nose, towards your temples, your forehead, and a lot of times that's sinus congestion. And so your sinuses are backed up and blocked up, and all of this infection and
inflamed,
mucus and
possibly.
inflamed. And so, the tissue swells, and then you might get a headache with that more than likely. Right? So a lot of times, sometimes, if you're getting chronic headaches, check to see if your nostrils are blocked, if your sinuses are swollen, because that's probably what is causing that. And so at that point, you might need something of a multi-symptom. And so the multi-symptom options we have, like the famous Cetamol cold and flu, you will get in there something for the cough itself. You will get an antihistamine in the nighttime one that will help with the runny nose, the excess mucus, the watery eyes, the sneezing, all of the allergy symptoms. And then you also get a decongestant in there that helps with the congestion in the sinuses. And when that goes down, more than likely, any pain you have in that area will go as well. But if not, and if you have bodily pain, it also has paracetamol in there too. So the Cetamol brand is a very good makeup, a very good combination if you have multi-symptom. However, if you are hypertensive, we would stay away from anything that has the decongestant like pseudoephedrine in there, which can raise your blood pressure. So it's important that we know your history. We don't just ask because we want to know. It's important that we know your history so we know what we are recommending for you and give you something that's best for you.
Right. So, and that is advice that, of course, we've given on the show multiple times. But if you're going to pick up an over-the-counter item, an OTC, you still, if you have pre-existing conditions, it is important, or if you're on other medication, it is important to speak to your pharmacist or to speak to, as Leona said, the pharmacy tech, somebody who can assist you and guide you as to what you should choose based on your particular situation and your particular health condition. So it's not because everybody else said that they were using this particular over-the-counter brand or medication that you should just go pick it up, and your pre-existing conditions and other people's are not the same,
Right.
But Leon, I want to backtrack a little bit. You mentioned some of the labeling that we might see on some of the medications, like the cough medications, the EX for expectorant. What does the DM mean?
Well, the DM stands for a specific drug itself that works to reduce the cough.
Okay, so it's like
Right?
a suppressant
Yes,
drug.
it's
Okay.
a cough suppressant. So
Okay.
the drug itself is dextromethorphan, right?
Uh-huh.
So shortened term
Is
DM.
DM.
Yes, because that's mainly the drug you will see in terms of
Suppressing
suppressant.
coughs.
Right. So you will
Okay.
see it saying DM on there. Of course, for the persons who don't want, they want a more natural way. You can get anything from the entire Covonia line. You get a lot of the natural remedies. So the menthol, the honey and lemon, these things that also can be used for the cough as well.
Okay. And what about, and I know sometimes this is an issue, somebody might be congested. And as you mentioned, of course, coughing up mucus is a good thing. If there is mucus in your respiratory tract, it can settle in your lungs, you can get an infection. So coughing it up is good. Expelling it is good. But at night, the coughing is keeping you up excessively. So you really are thinking to yourself, I want to expectorate in the day. I want to be able to cough out whatever it is, the mucus in the day. But in the night, I just want to sleep.
Right.
I just want to sleep. So I just need that coughing to give me a break at night. Is there any product that will give you that combination, or would you need to buy two separate items?
I'll tell you what, some people prefer to have the separate items, but there's a balance. So in some of the cough medications we have, like the Tucol or the Tussodril or the Robitussin, you will often get the combo
Mhm.
of the expectorant and the cough suppressant.
Mhm.
So most times, if you just want to deal with an expectorant, you can get that alone by itself. A lot of times, when you get the cough suppressant, you might get it in combination with an expectorant as well, which is also beneficial. So, for
Mhm.
instance, if you're having a lot of nighttime coughing and, like you say, what sleep, if you
Mhm.
get one of these options, it will help to loosen the mucus, but it will also keep that excessive coughing down. And I know a lot of times when you cough a lot and you're coughing excessively, you might then start to feel
Yeah,
pain
chest pain.
in the
Mhm.
chest or in the septum there. You know, some people can get irritation in the form of costochondritis, and
Mhm.
that's the inflammation of the ribs and so on. So it's really not a nice feeling. So you can get the combination like these, or you can get stuff separately. A good separate mention, I mentioned earlier, the cetamol as well. And the separation for that one is because of the antihistamine that's going to make you drowsy. But essentially, the drowsiness will help you to sleep if you're having issues sleeping in the nighttime because of the discomfort of the flu.
Mm. Okay.
So that's why most people, you get a box of day, you probably get
Daytime
a
and then
box
at
of night
nighttime.
as well. Yes.
Okay, okay. And then what about, I mean, and you meant something else you mentioned as it relates to sinus pressure.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, a lot of Dominicans will tell you, I have sinus.
Mhm.
So all of us have sinuses,
Yes.
but sometimes they become inflamed and congested and so on. That's when you have an issue. So the I have sinus is almost like a, yes, all of us have sinuses.
Right.
But the
Mm.
issue you're trying to talk about when you say that most times is that the sinuses are inflamed or they are, painful or whatever
Mhm.
it may be. So some of the medication, some of the, so addressing that as a symptom is also possible in some of the medications that you can purchase.
Yes, some of the
Mhm.
medications already have it included, like the
Mhm.
cetamol, or in some of our QC, and QC is one of our bigger brands. In some of our QC lines, there's a nighttime, daytime packet that you can get. Some of those include the decongestant. Now, if it is that you are, like we say, hypertensive, and we don't want to give you oral decongestant, we might be able to give you something to use locally. So that's like the decongestant sprays. So
Ah.
we have Afrin that can help to target the congestion at the sites, and you just spray it up, or you can get the Otrivin for adults and children preparations, and you can drop that into the nose as well. And it pretty much works quickly and
Mhm.
helps to relieve the congestion without doing the entire, free your body systemic route.
Ah, okay, okay. So not necessarily only oral preparations available, and for the other preparations, Leona, you'd have to speak to the pharmacist directly.
They are available on the OTC shelf
Okay,
as well.
okay,
The Afrin, the Otrivin, all of this is on the OTC shelf, so you can access that freely. You can always talk to us if you need more information on it as well.
okay. Now, another thing when people have cold or flu symptoms, and are dealing with congestion, a lot of us talk about rubbing ourselves down. We want to
Mm.
rub down, like,
Mhm.
and of course, we know our grandparents and older people will always advocating for rubbing when you are feeling fluish or like you're getting a cold or you have a cold. I know the famous Vicks Vapor Rub
Mhm.
as one, but what else is there? And is that something that people can utilize, some sort of rub for the chest, even on the back, to ease up congestion?
I believe strongly in a rub down.
You believe in the rub
I feel it
down
was passed down through the
for
generations
our
for our
ancestors.
ancestors because it works. We can all
Uh,
attest to that. If you have not been rubbed down in your life, I do not know where you have been living. But I strongly believe in the rub down. And you see, the thing is, with the rub down, it's not so much the action, but it's the ingredients that are in there.
mhm,
So most of these rubs, they're high concentration of menthol, which
mhm,
gives you that. It's almost like you get a rub, but you feel like it targets directly into your nose.
mhm,
Because why? You're rubbing this menthol on your chest, you're rubbing it behind your ears, you're rubbing it on your neck, and you are also inhaling the menthol in there as well. And so it helps to relieve the congestion, almost like a walking I don't know, like a walking Vicks inhaler in your
Yes, like
nose
an
type
inhaler. Yeah.
of thing, And we have right now, all we knew before was Vicks, but we have so many other ones on the market as well. So you get the Fitzroy, rub as well, and we do manufacture a chest rub for children because oftentimes the chest rubs that we have, the adult ones, it's a bit more potent than when you have babies and younger children. Your skin can still be irritated more easily than ours, and so there's the ones that are a bit titrated down for the children. So you can get the children's chest rub that Jolly's makes. So Jolly's manufacturing makes this one, the children's chest rub. Or you can ask about the line of Olbas items that we have as well, which includes the rubs, the inhalers. We have some locally made inhalers as well. So we have despecialized inhalers,
Oh, wow.
which is quite a kick, in there in terms of getting you clear in the
Clearing your nasal
nostrils.
passages. I've never
Indeed.
seen that product.
We have it at Jolly's.
Okay.
So you can check it in at Jolly's as well. It's locally made by one of our staff.
Okay.
And so it's a pretty good product. You can get your Vicks. If you're traditional, you can get, we have a QC one as well. It's so many different ones because a lot of times, whether it's the flu or not, it really does help to alleviate those morning stuffiness for those of us that always have allergies, all of these things. So definitely many different ways to go about treating the cold and flu symptoms.
Okay, so that's good. Once again, very good information. There is a variety available for you at Jolly's in terms of rubs that you can use to relieve congestion. And the oil of Ojas, you said, line has several options.
Yes, the Olbas line has
Olba-
different types.
Or the Olbas.
But not to forget the oil of Ojas, because oil of Ojas is a miracle
Multi-purpose,
thing, you know. So if you're dealing with pain, yes. If you're dealing with
and I was about
mosquitoes,
to
yes.
get to the pain aspect of things. So
Indeed.
I guess I said oil of Ojas instead
Instead
of Olbas.
yes.
And maybe it's because it's a good segue into the next thing I was going
Indeed
to
it
ask
does.
you about, which is pain. But yes, there is a variety at the pharmacy, so feel free to come in and try something. And I know as I wrap up the conversation on the rubs, the old people, like my grandmother for sure, in rubbing, she would make a cross with the product before you get the rub. So it's like, you get that spiritual
too, on top of that.
you get that spiritual rub down.
Indeed. And before you move, one more thing I did not mention, and for those of us who are singers, for those who have been singing all throughout the season, I know I saw quite a few artists come in and get some Vocal Zone or some Covonia fruit lozenges. So these are pretty quick, pretty effective for those of us who may be working at the call centers or we use our voice a lot. If you're straining right now from, the singing, you were backups in the band. And so if you're straining this morning, come on down, ask about the Covonia fruit lozenges, which will help to numb out that pain that you might be feeling in your throat and fight the infection as well. So it's a pretty good preparation for that.
Okay. So, and I know we've had, people trying to get us. We're going to open up the lines. Of course, if you want to call and interact with us, Leona is here. She's A+ pharmacist, and she's giving you some good tips and tricks post-carnival season that you can use for your ailments. So our number is 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, and 616-4257 if you want to reach us from overseas. 305-432-9624. I see we have a call. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, pretty interesting topic you guys there. I just and does any of the stuff that you're talking about, since it comes with cold, flu, and stuff like that, does any one of them work for someone who suffers from asthma?
Asthma. Okay.
Asthma.
Good question.
No,
Thank you, caller.
Thank you for that question, because that is indeed usual for persons having respiratory issues if you're already suffering from something like asthma or bronchitis. There's a few preps on the shelf that specifically work in terms of persons who may be having these issues. So you can come in and ask about Brohex or the Fedbutamol. And Fedbutamol is an interesting one because what's in there, you get a little bit of salbutamol in there to help to, combat the constriction of the bronchioles and so on. So help you to breathe better, help to open up your airways again. So you get a little salbutamol in there, and then you also get something else in there that will help to deal with if it is that you're getting the constriction and you have excess mucus in there. It will help to deal with that excess fluid in the lungs as well. So it's pretty good for persons who may be having asthma or bronchitis. The Brohex also is very effective and often prescribed in these situations. So there's options in there for persons with asthma. If it is that you are wheezing at that point, naturally, we'll have a few questions for you. You know, if it is that you have your inhaler, or you might have to go to get nebulized, or if you have your nebulizer. And of course, if you're someone who is a confirmed asthmatic and you have a nebulizer at home, you can come to the pharmacy for your medication. So if it is that you were prescribed, let's say salbutamol in the nebule form, you can come and get those at the pharmacy as well. And if at any time you're coming to the pharmacy and you're breathless and you need anything, just let us know whether it's the cashier. We will definitely do your items one time for you if it is that you are in distress. And so there's a lot of options in there for persons with asthma. Typically, for some items, if they may contain certain items like ibuprofen and you're more sensitive, this can flare up asthmatic conditions. And so it's important when you come in, if you're coming in for something like the flu, you don't have an asthma flare up, but you have the cold, but you are an asthmatic, you might want to speak with someone in terms of the items that you take to treat so that it doesn't, manage to irritate and then flare up an asthma attack.
Okay. Yes, we have a caller. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning. Good
Hello,
morning.
good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, this is Clayton Bryan calling, and I just want to say that I'm very much impressed with pharmacist Leona and the flow of information and the professional information that you're providing. Well done, Leona. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Thank you, Mr. Brian, and that's my
Of
teacher
course, that's your
there.
teacher.
I'm smiling right now, happy to hear him calling in, and I'm glad that I can represent you well, Mr. Brian.
Mr. Brian, good work. Yes, he's gone. But yes, Leona. So what's your past teachers are approving? You're doing a good thing.
Indeed, I'm feeling very proud right now.
Yes. But Leona, we were going to go into, and I really appreciate the question from the caller
Indeed.
about asthma, because in this carnival season, once again, there are so many triggers for asthmatics. I mean, if people went even in the vicinity of Roseau on Monday with all the powder and
the
stuff,
powder, the exhaust,
yes,
the fogging, all of these things, this smoke,
could trigger an asthmatic.
So it's a season where you want to be prepared because
Yes.
you do not know what would happen.
Yes. Let's take another call. Caller, good morning.
Hi, morning, Miss Christian.
Hi, good morning.
And the next young lady,
Leona, yes, Miss Jeremiah.
Morning.
You touch upon Miss Christian and Miss Leona about the rubbing, which is so important, that can really bring back the body to life. And you talk to Christian, you talk about your mother's science, your grandmother's science in rubbing. I believe in rubbing. CBAF is an important thing, and the type of medicine even you giving the young children is the level of sugar. Even they have a flu, and you have to be careful. Sometimes some of us do understand the level of sugar that in some of those medicine. Why the child might have a cough, and you want to get rid of the cough, but it might do some more damage. Already the blood level is not much as us, the adult. They might just have a few pints of blood in the body because of the size, a few months old. So you have to be careful with the level of sugar you might give in them. Can just cause more damage to diabetes because then you're going to give them that taste of sweetness. But you talk about your grandmother and rubbing. I see that with my grandmother. These people always have a science with coconut oil and salt to rub at night. And you can't get up more earlier than them. And the lifestyle, they wasn't so busy. And you speak about mucus cause a lot of damage. It leads you to pneumonia and different illness. And the simple things they was doing, they would just get some bay rum, bay oil, and put in some boiling water and inhale it. Like when somebody gets a pneumonia is what that put you to death. It's put you to death. And what they would do, they would get alcohol and iodine and, boil it and rub you down and put you in a blanket and warm you up. And I find all the modern system that come in there, to me, we have more unnecessary death, even in our healthcare system more than before. And I wonder why we have all these advancements and going back. I even find this system when you go to the hospital, the level of air condition helps to reduce your body temperature, which you already have a low body temperature, because when you're sick, your body temperature drops. When you put you in that environment, so cold, to me, I don't like to say what I'm not supposed to say, but to me, it's making more damage than good. But I like all the discussion, and I believe all this should stay more on the natural things, because in India today, they give the health people in the hospital the rights of using natural medicine. They license all natural medicine, because India and keep the culture of naturality. But also going to more industrial natural medicine, Miss Christian at Jolly's. I hear a lot of big boys talking, Mr. Jolly's boys, and them. I think that's one of the ways they should go into. Instead of importing all those things you have to buy so expensive, like lemongrass oil, peppermint oil, get the farmers to produce it as what Bello was doing and produce some of those things. I mean, Jolly's have come a long way, and Jolly's is not no little brand. It's a big brand, and they must support. I will always keep telling them, look at all the visitors we have here. They need to set up a more local shop so that the visitors, because that is what the people come here for in our community, the natural things. We want to give them something else. Have a good day.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
Yes, as I know that's a point that this caller has made in the past, and of course there is the availability of the local products. Leona even mentioned that Jolly's Manufacturing is making, or makes certain products like the rub for children, and I'm sure incorporates a lot of our natural oils and so on in there. So there is that availability. I know that caller likes the location of the things to be a little more prominent, but that is a work in progress. But Leona, we were going to transcend into another aspect of post-carnival malaise, I would say, and it's pain. People exert themselves a lot more than they normally would if they participated in 2 days of street jump up. I've seen people put up that, they accomplished all like 40,000 steps, when on a normal day they would struggle to make 10,000 steps. But on Carnival Monday or Carnival Tuesday, they quadrupled the number of steps that they would normally make in a day. And of course, that may result in muscle pain, for some people, joint pain, and just overall feelings of pain, body soreness. What is your advice, Leona? Somebody's coming in, boy, my feet, my legs are killing me, and I want some relief for that.
I'll tell you what, I was envious of everyone who had a smartwatch during the season. I do not know where my charger is, but I really wish I could have seen what the steps look like. Because to be honest, you do so much more. And you see, it's not just the 2 days anymore, because we have so many events, So you have persons doing so much more. And then we wonder why we feel, in pain afterwards. So a lot of persons may come in with the usual muscle pain, and that's where we'll start. So the usual muscle pain that you might have, you might be feeling fatigue, particularly in your calf, in your thighs. You might even feel your hips, because what you don't notice is while you're walking, you're not just walking. You're walking and you're dancing, you're moving, your hip is moving, your legs are moving. It may be that you're crouched for a long position. We have taller persons, all of these things, and in that kind of movement, you are engaging your muscles quite a lot. And so just like any gym or exercise, you engage your muscles in a certain way for certain repetitions, and then you will get muscle fatigue. Now, in the heat of the moment, most time we don't feel the fatigue, we just keep going.
Yes,
in the gym,
day after.
you do an hour and you stop. So till the day after. And so you might feel some soreness today. And if you feel soreness today, I promise you'll feel some pain tomorrow. And that's how it works when the muscle gets to rest. then you start to feel the aches that come with that. So in terms of treating these items, we have a lot of topical items on the OTC shelf, on the floor that you can use for muscle pain. Now I'll start with the oil of Ojas because we already hinted it in there. So with those, that's pretty much a natural remedy where we use a lot of different essential oils and so on that will help, that will penetrate the muscle, that, and will help really with the soreness. If you want to take it a step further, you can do a massage rub with that. And I don't know, but I've had the experience personally where I've used Ojas and I've woken up and felt nothing, right? So you can definitely try topical works depending on how severe your pain might be. There are also other items such as diclofenac. You can get that. It's a drug that you get in tablet form, but we also have it in the rubs that you can get and use and kind of work into the sore muscle, and it will help with the inflammation, especially. So when you talk about inflammation, you might notice areas of swelling, areas of heat. And of course, when we talk about swelling and heat in the calf, if there was no reason and the area is hard and all of that, then we also want to be careful in terms of the risk of blood clots,
yeah.
especially if you've had a blood clot before or you have a history of one, you might want to get that checked. But if we're talking about, simple soreness that we know comes from this movement, then you can use these rubs to work yourself in. If you're having a lot of pain, we also have things like Asper cream, which is a rub that has an anesthetic in it. So it's a local anesthetic. So it goes a little further than the NSAIDs, like the diclofenac gel. It actually numbs the area. So if you need some relief in an area, you can numb the area. It will numb it for a while and help to, block those pain signals. And so you can feel some relief and get through your day if it is that you are at work like most of us are, and you need to get through the day. So the pain options are extensive. If we're talking, systemic, so we're talking about tablets, you can get items like ibuprofen. And like we said, for those who are asthmatic, you might want to stay away from that. But ibuprofen, you can get naproxen, you can get paracetamol, which really should be your first go-to if you're experiencing mild pain. If it's general body pain that comes along with, let's say, the advent of the flu, or you're experiencing overall general pain that's maybe on a scale of a 3, a 2, a 4, then we can start off with paracetamol, which is pretty well tolerated for most people. So there's a lot of different options that you can get. There's also the belladonna plasters, where you can get the lidocaine patches, these things that can help to kind of numb out the area, and you can just stick on and go through your day.
So what are those, Leona? I've never seen those. So lidocaine patches.
You can get, right. So you can get the patches. It comes in the lidocaine ones is the Icy Hot brand. So yes, you can come in and get Icy Hot or the QC equivalent brand. You can also get the belladonna patches, and those make life a bit easier. So if it is that, you might be having a busy schedule, I can stop and, have this cream rubbing every time. I can apply a patch at home and it will last me the day on my skin and give me that pain relief throughout the day. So that's an option.
So you said you have, so how big are the patches?
We have different sizes.
Okay.
So if it is that you have maybe on your lower back, and that's mostly the largest area for most people, then we have bigger patches that you can just wrap around the entire area. Yes.
Okay.
If it is that you're having issues maybe on your calf, there's a smaller size. And if it really does need to be cut, it can be.
Okay. So those patches would provide that pain relief without having to rub, as you said, topically, some sort of cream
yes.
on there. Okay. All right. Interesting. So the Icy Hot brand, and then you also said belladonna is the brand?
The belladonna patches.
The belladonna patches.
So you can get that, or the Icy Hot. You can ask for Icy Hot. You'll get the brand or the equivalent to apply to there as well.
Okay. And what's the length of effect of the patch? How long does it last?
Some of them are longer than others, but typically you can get an 8-hour use out of a patch most times.
Okay.
As opposed to, the cream, you might have to apply a bit more often depending on how severe your pain is.
Okay. All right. And then, of course, I mean, people talk about other aspects of pain relief that you can use, like they go get a soak. So that's another thing. There's the rubbing and then there's soaking. So I know we really, really like to go to soak us
Listen,
Dominicans.
the soak, the soak again, I can back the soak. The
Mhm.
soak works. Now you have to know, which is important, when you can soak and
Mhm.
when you can soak where. So
Mm.
for instance, every time we feel pain, we say we need a hot water soak.
Yes, we need to go to
You
the
know?
hot water.
And that's why we say we need hot water, because we know that hot water tends to work. However, if you're having some form of pain right now that involves swelling,
Mm.
you might want to stay away from hot water. So sometimes you hear, when you talk about persons like athletes and so on, you'll hear a lot of hot and cold therapy. And most persons, you might not necessarily know when to use what. But if you're having visible swelling,
Mhm.
so you notice some visible swelling in the knee or in the calf, you were carnival for the day, and the knee swelling,
Or
you
your
were standing,
ankles.
your ankles swelling,
Mhm.
your feet swelling, you want to stay away from heat,
Mhm.
which essentially might cause worse
Yes,
swelling,
exacerbate
right?
swelling.
And you might
Mhm.
want to stay away from soaking, like even if it's in your tub, because that itself might make the swelling or the edema worse, right? So that's what you want to look at. Now, if you're talking, if you had, let's say you were, God forbid, you were on the road and maybe you passed by the tire or something of that sort, and you have that injury that just came about, you can actually use cold therapy. So you can ask for the ice cool that we have, and it's almost like in a Vaseline tub, and you just apply it on and you rub it, and it will give you that cool sensation. Or a lot of the pain relief stuff that we have, you'll notice has menthol in there, which gives, again, the same cool sensation. So menthol across the board, you can actually get the menthol crystals and just inhale for earlier. But
Mhm.
menthol across the board is very effective when we're talking about pain as well. So you can use those. If you don't have swelling and you are sore, by all means, you can take a little hot water soak. That might be beneficial for you as well. And when it comes to the rubbing, again, for pain, the rubbing, the soaking, we have quite a few items you can use. Now, magnesium salt, so like the Epsom salts that we have. A lot of times when we use Epsom salts at home, is to soak your feet
Mhm.
when you're going to do your toes, or you're
Mhm.
going to give yourself a little scrub, but you can also do that like a bath. So if you use the Epsom salts in some warm water, the Epsom salts itself is magnesium salts, and what it does is it helps to relax the muscles. And so it's pretty beneficial if you have sore muscles generally all around, right? So we can use the Epsom salts in the bag for that. Or we have like the Dr. Teal's, the Epsom salts, the bath lotions. They all have magnesium salts in there.
Mhm.
Some of them might have eucalyptus in it. And you can make these things for yourself too. If you get the eucalyptus oils, and we have a wide range of oils at Jolly's, locally bottled everything. So you can get your eucalyptus oil, add that into that. You can add in your lavender oil, peppermint oil. All of that is going to help to further relax the muscle
Mhm.
and help with that pain.
Mhm. I saw somebody say, Leona, after, I think it was after the first day of Jump Up Carnival Monday, um, respect Epsom salts because they couldn't walk after Carnival
Mhm.
Monday. They soaked their feet, and on Carnival Tuesday they were back in action.
Right.
So I don't know how they are this morning on Ash Wednesday.
They might have tried again.
Yes, but they definitely use some, Epsom salts foot soak and got themselves back on their feet to continue the reveling on Tuesday.
Mhm.
So I do know that quite a number of people, utilize those. But very good tips as it relates to all the different things you can use to relax those muscles and to give yourself some relief. And of course, rest as well. If you are working and you have a job, you may not have been able to stay in, or you should not have stayed back this morning or today to rest. Today is known as the low productivity day. Today and the day after World Curl Music
I think
Festival.
the day after
Monday,
anything big,
yes.
but
But if you're on vacation, obviously you can stay in and rest and recuperate. But if you had to get right back on the grind of work, you didn't have that luxury. So some of these things can really help you to survive these next few days. So I do have a question that came in. I think we spoke about this earlier, but I guess this listener wants some repetition of this. If somebody has a nagging cough, a long lasting cough, what is there for that. They didn't say if it's
Mhm.
dry cough or if it's, still a wet cough, but a cough that has been there for a long time.
Two things I want to mention around that's an interesting question, because that is something that we should all hear right now. If you do have a cough, right? And sometimes persons come in and they'll say, you might recommend something based on the symptoms, and they'll say that doesn't work for me. That probably didn't work for your productive cough where you had mucus, but it might work for your dry cough. And that's what we need to recognize. It's not that a product doesn't work. Your symptoms probably were not aligned with what it works for, right? So that's one. Two, most of the cough syrups, and importantly so, if you're following the dosing right, they don't last longer than a week. And that's not by accident, right? So typically, if you take in a cough syrup, it might last you 5 days. It might last you 7 days, possibly. But most of them don't go over a week. And that's simply because if you're having a long-lasting cough, there could be a lot more that is beneath the surface, right? So if you're having a cough that is more than 3 weeks, so sometimes you get the flu, you get a cough in, you have the fever, you might have bodily pain, all of these things, and then after about 10 days, maybe you're feeling better, but you still have the cough. If this cough goes all the way past that 3 week mark, it's important that you take yourself to your doctor or your healthcare provider. It's not supposed to be normal that you have a cough post, let's say, a flu for more than 3 weeks. That might signify that you might have some deeper respiratory issues. So at that point, your lungs might have come into play in the sense of chronic inflammation or, mucus, excess fluid, and you don't want to keep that unchecked. You might have, at this point, you never know, you might be diagnosed with bronchitis, which a lot of people, you don't necessarily know you have bronchitis because you stay coughing and you ignore it until maybe the flare goes away. And then, it happens again, whatever the case may be. But some people are prone to bronchitis. And so the constant coughing might be due to the tightening of the lungs itself. And that's not a good place to be. You might wake up one night and you just completely cannot breathe. So, bronchitis, or if you have asthma, or you might have some form of infection, and things like infections, the earlier you catch it, the easier it is to, deal with. And so if you have a cough and it's more than 3 weeks, get it checked. You might need some prescribed medication. You might need some oral steroids to open up the airways. You might need some nebulization. So if that is your situation, get that checked.
Definitely. I am one of these people that are prone to the resistant, long-lasting cough post respiratory virus. So I have been told by my physician that I have hyperactive airways. It doesn't take much for them to get irritated, and for them to therefore become inflamed, and for me to get this excessive coughing and bronchitis. I've had bronchitis multiple times. And so the definite way to go if that cough is not going away is to seek medical advice from your doctor, and of course to get some remedy directly from the doctor. And the steroid thing is also something that I've had to utilize several times myself, oral steroids, and yes, so the long lasting cough. But of course, Leona did mention earlier on in the program quite a few cough remedies that are available at the pharmacy for you to use, if it's you're just starting to get that cough, or you're in the midst of a coughing kind of scenario. She listed some of the expectorants, some of the suppressants that are available. So what we're going to the last point of our post-carnival pharmacy tips that we're going to deal with is using the pharmacy itself. So some of the things that might occur after the season, we've spoken about the respiratory ailments and dealing with the symptoms of those. We've spoken about the muscle pain or general body pain and dealing with those items as well. Some people, that one is one. Let me just mention that before we go into the general pharmacy usage. But some people have stomach upset or gastrointestinal issues post a festive season because of their eating, what they ate throughout the season, what they did not eat, the high quantity of alcohol they may have taken without eating. And so some people may be suffering this morning from, gastrointestinal discomfort, gastrointestinal issues. I think maybe that is that one I could ask for a quick comment on, Leona, before we just wrap up with the overall usage of the pharmacy and some tips for that. But yeah, if this morning, Ash Wednesday, your stomach is on fire. Yesterday you were in Roseau, and is some, you couldn't, you bought some food, you're not sure about the length of time it was out or whatever, and you bought something, you ate something this morning, you suffering.
I'll tell you, and you see, that's the thing, because we're on the high traffic situations. You have 6 events to get to, so you're probably not cooking or anything like that for the season. Now, it could be something you ate, but it could be a virus, but
yes.
it could be something else. So the important thing when you come into any, and all of our staff are trained for that, the important thing when you come in is we will ask you if you know or if you have an idea what caused it. Now, sometimes some people know. I bought this sandwich, and 30 minutes after buying this sandwich, I started to feel sick. I was vomiting. The sandwich was smelling bad, etc., etc. Some people, you have no clue. It just came from nowhere. You do not know, whatever the case may be. So we'll ask you if you have an idea, because if it's food related and you're getting diarrhea, although there is medication to stop the diarrhea, we will oftentimes ask you to wait it out a little. Because what happens is your body's trying to get rid of something that is harming it or can be harmful to it, right? So we might not want to stop the diarrhea and then you're keeping the contents in, which one can cause further issue, right? So sometimes diarrhea is not something that you'll just stop straight off the bat, right? There are situations where you may have diarrhea, you may have vomiting as well, and the contents of your stomach has already been passed. So you've been vomiting and having diarrhea for 3 days post you think whatever you ate bad. At that point, we have to ask some more questions. So it could be that you contracted some viral infection, especially if you're having a lot of burning, you could have contracted H. pylori, all of these things which you'd have to test for and get a regimen prescribed from the doctor to treat. So oftentimes when we're dealing with diarrhea and stomach, please don't just pack it on the wayside. If you continuously, feeling the burning days past, etc., then we'd have to give you something. Now, there's a drug called Imodium or loperamide, which can be used to stop the diarrhea. And so if it's a safe situation where that can be done, that is something that you can get on the OTC shelf to help to stop off that diarrhea. And naturally, when you're taking this drug, well, the type of drug that it is, you might, and again, that's why it's important to speak to someone when you come in or to read the labeling, read the packaging, because that drug, it might make you drowsy. So that's some of the things that you need to know. And it's keeping in the contents by working like it's an opioid. So it keeps in the contents, but it might make you drowsy and it might also make you dehydrated a bit. You might notice. So you want to drink, it sounds back to front, but you want to ensure that you're drinking fluids. You're hydrating yourself while you're taking this, and it will stop off the diarrhea. You replenish your fluids, you get some oral rehydration salt, some Gatorade, whatever it may be, alongside that, and then you should be fine by the first or second dose of that drug.
Okay. We have a caller. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning.
Julie, your program is very interesting. You talk about diarrhea. One of the things that people can use for diarrhea at a quick stage is you could just get some young guava leaf or the pigeon peas and you just boil it and enjoy it. And after all this long eating of salt, meat and sugar and alcohol, as Fiona was saying, you need to put the stomach too. You need to take a day fast to clean out the stomach. Is very important. Realkaline the body maybe with something like some lemon, a little honey, and some olive oil, and all the natural medicine Fiona was talking about, the Epsom salt. These things work very well. And even people that lose a lot of iron, they need to take a little walk sometime in the sun, vitamin D, sea bath, as I say earlier on. The cooking, I think now some people should go back to some natural cooking. Let's say peas, where you can get some iron. and greens, pumpkin with zinc and tanya and green bananas, and go back to some natural things to build up back the body. Spinach and those cook up like a cook up, natural cook up from natural things without less all these makeups in it. Things that can really build back the body. And Judy, you know my number if anybody wants something natural like the cayenne oil, nutmeg cream, Fiona, I can give it to you all. It's 265-9673. Sometime in the afternoon, I just get across by Pivo City Mall, but it's more in the afternoon, and I live in Goodwill, close to Bonsai Pharmacies. But Fiona, I like your natural side of how you're taking it. I just love that about you. Have a good day.
Thank you,
caller.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you. So yes, Leona, and you mentioned all of these things for dealing with the potential gastric upset, bad stomach, and so on. But if you in doubt, and you come into the pharmacy, you will get some assistance and some advice, and that kind of brings us to the last part of the discussion, which is coming into the pharmacy itself. No. People, as I said, this might be busy time. People coming into the pharmacy a lot, and in terms of general usage of the pharmacy, if you let me just start with the OTC area. So you're in the general area of the pharmacy, looking through for what you can get. Leona, how do you get assistance if you're just in that area? So you're not at the dispensary, you're just in the aisle.
Yes, so if you're in the aisle, most of all locations you will notice someone in that aisle permanently. So if you do see someone there, you need some assistance, you need help, and a lot of times don't guess because things look alike, sound alike. You ask that person for assistance, you let them know what you need. If it is that they feel that you need some further consultation or they need, the pharmacist's expertise, they will usually come to the pharmacy and request that the pharmacist comes out to see you. If it is that you do need to see a pharmacist, you can oftentimes, if you're not going through the line itself to the pharmacy where you meet the pharmacy technicians who can assist you with most OTC items as well. So you can ask them for assistance. You can ask the cashiers at the pharmacy department, but all of these persons will facilitate someone to help you in selecting an item.
And so what if you bypass the aisles completely, you went straight to the dispensary where the pharmacist is located, and you go straight to the dispensary, and the person there who is going to ask typically for your prescription, this person is typically a pharmacy tech. You ask the person for some medication or something that you've heard about that you maybe want to try. Is that a route to get assistance as well?
That is a very good route to get assistance. The pharmacy technicians are trained, for these things. They are trained to be able to assist you. And most times, when you think you need a pharmacist for anything, because pretty much sometimes we just don't know the different rules in the pharmacy, and that's one of the things. So you might call in for a question on, let's say, a name of a medication, but you don't know that there are behind that counter, there are cashiers. There are pharmacy cashiers who may know more about pharmacy than the cashiers on the floor. There are pharmacy technicians who basically are doing the entire technical process of pharmacy. They're deciphering, they're typing up your prescriptions, they're getting your drugs. They will also, be able to notice if there's any errors in your prescription or anything with dosing that might have to be clarified by the pharmacist. But, they are trained for these things. So you can go ahead and ask the person that you meet at this point, who is a pharmacy technician. You can ask them for whatever it is that you need. Now, at this point, they are also trained to know when they need to take that up to the pharmacist, right? And that's one of the easiest ways you can get help, because sometimes you want to speak to a pharmacist and you come through and you might have to wait quite a long time depending on how busy it is. And then it's something that you could have gotten help for much quicker, or they can also relay your concerns to us as well. So it's one of the best routes to use.
Okay, we have a caller. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
I'm dealing with Jolly Pharmacy, only my wardrobe that is not there. That means I'm always there. And I can never go wrong with Gemma, Never go wrong with Gemma. I know some of them feeling a way when I come on and I ask for Gemma, but she is good. Never go wrong with her. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right. So
Big up Gemma this morning.
yes, thank you, caller. So yes, Leona. So going to the dispensary, talking to the pharmacy tech, that's okay. The pharmacy tech may refer you to the pharmacist, and then you may get. I know also at Jolly's there are consultation rooms if the pharmacist needs to speak to you directly in private. That's possible.
Yes, and that's one of the things that we pride ourselves on, because there's a lot of different conversations that a person may omit if they don't feel comfortable, talking about. And so when you come into the pharmacy, you have the opportunity, if you feel that it's something that you want to talk about privately, something that you want to show us, because oftentimes, we have rashes, we have all of these things, something you want to show the pharmacist, you can let us know that you'd like to have a private conversation with the pharmacist. We might ask you to wait a few minutes, and then we'll be able to take you into the consultation room, which is a room that we can close off, lock off, and have a conversation with the patient in question. So that's always an opportunity that you can take. That's always one that is there and available if you need a more private conversation.
And then the other option, I know for people who maybe are more internet savvy and like to do their business virtually, of course, there's jollies.dm where you can go in and order your items that you would like, and you would see, just like on any online store portal, you would see the listing of what's available for you to order, and you can do that. I am on jollies.dm right now. The first thing I saw was the oil of Ojas. I am now seeing all the essential oils that are available. I see, so the products are there. You could add them to your cart if you want and order. But Leona, my question to you, if a customer orders their items on jollies.dm, they are a local customer, how do they receive the items that they've ordered?
Well, typically you order on jollies.dm and your order is processed internally, and you can pick
it up. Okay.
At the main office on King George Street upstairs.
Okay.
So usually that's how it works. We've had persons, you've mentioned tech savvy, and we've had persons who've messaged through every medium we have in terms of finding out information, and sometimes about their prescription items. So what I want to say to the general public, where you can reach us at any medium, and the thing is, throughout the company, whether pharmacy or not, we are professionals, and so confidentiality and all of that is carried throughout. And so if you send in something, it will be directed to where it needs to go. However, if you need to contact the pharmacy department, so you have a prescription that you'd like to know the cost of, or you have a query about some health-related thing, you can contact us at pharmacy@jolliesonline.com. So it's PHARMACY at JOLLYS online.com. So feel free to send in your prescriptions there. You can have them priced for you ahead of time. But please, we have a lot of people who just send them and they have no instruction. Send it in. Let us know what it is you'd like us to do, whether you need the cost. Let us know. Importantly, if you want it prepared in advance, you need to let us know which branch you'd like it to be prepared at. And it goes the same for the telephone. So you call 448-3388. You ask to get transferred to the pharmacy department, or if you know what branch you're going to, if it's King George Street, Great George Street, Portsmouth, or Folkley, you ask for either one, and then you can relay your information. You let them know your name, what medications you want, how many months you want, and make sure you're at the right branch to pick up. And what that does for you is helps to smooth along your process. So when you come in, once you're there, you let the cashier know you're there. Most likely you cash as the next person in line if she's already cashing, right? It's already prepared. It saves you time. It saves you energy. It also does make things run much smoother, especially if you know you're pressed for time.
Okay, so Leona, just to repeat, the email address for pharmacy is pharmacy@jolliesonline.com, and the phone number?
The phone number is 448-3388. And if you'd like your doctor to speak with us, please, you can let your doctor call us directly. or there are ways that your doctor can reach us in terms of getting a prescription across to us or any query that you may have. So that is also an option to make things faster for you.
Right. So it is the end of our time. It was, of course, a pleasure to be on with you as usual on a Wednesday morning here on Q95 FM radio, bringing you health education with a little vibes, as we like to do. I see the phones are still going, but unfortunately, we are at the end of our time. It is 11:35 a.m. and we have overshot our time. I don't want us to be thrown out of studio. So we will be back next week, God willing, with another health education program. So you can catch us then. And until then, do have a good week, a restful week, I hope, and see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Jolly's Pharmacy is bringing vibes to health with Health Vibes. Health Vibes. Each and every Wednesday from 10 to 11:30 a.m. with your hosts, Trudy Kristen, and co-host pharmacists Jacinta Fagan and Leona Jeremiah. Education, information, and a bit of humor. And not forgetting lots of vibes. Jolly's Pharmacy is bringing health and vibes together with Health Vibes. So be sure to tune in each and every Wednesday on Q95 from 10 to 11:30 a.m. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
Introducing Jolly's Pharmacy, brand new website.